Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the banquet hall here at Jamaica House for post-cabinet media briefing. My name is Naomi Francis. This morning, for our post-cabinet media briefing, we're joined by the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honourable Favour Williams, as well as to come, the Minister of State and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan. Joining us via Zoom this morning, a very hectic morning with all the things happening, not just locally, but certainly across the region. We will have Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and she'll be joined via Zoom as well by Ambassador Sheila Seeley Monteith, the Permanent Secretary and Head of the Jamaican Foreign Service at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Also joining us this morning is Ambassador Janice Miller, the Ambassador for Jamaica to CARICOM and the Under-Secretary for Bilateral, Regional and Hemispheric Affairs. She'll join us via Zoom, of course, all the issues happening with our neighboring island, Haiti. Joining us as well this morning, Dr. Grace McLean, the Permanent Secretary Acting in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Dr. Kassan Troop, the Chief Education Officer Acting in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, as well as Mr. Michael Shaw, Chairman of the National Water Commission, who will join via Zoom, and Ms. Cassandra Morrison, the Director of the Council for Senior Citizens in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Thank you all for joining us via Zoom and certainly on all streaming platforms, as well as PBCJ, and of course, members of the media. May I now invite the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honourable Favour Williams, to brief us on Cabinet deliberations, following which we'll take some questions. Minister.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Let me acknowledge the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and her team. Let me acknowledge as well Dr. Grace McLean, our Permanent Secretary Acting from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, as well as Dr. Kassan Troop, Chief Education Officer Acting, also at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and the team that's here this morning from the ministry. Let me acknowledge as well Mr. Michael Shaw, Chairman, National Water Commission. He's on via Zoom, and Ms. Cassandra Morrison, Director of the Council for Senior Citizens from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. We will begin with the decisions from Cabinet. First up is the implementation of an electronic system of land title registration. Cabinet gave approval for the implementation of an electronic land titling project at the National Land Agency, NLA. The project is to be incorporated into the Public Sector Investment Program. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service will accommodate the implementation of the project over a 6-year period to commence in the 2021-2022 financial year. The implementation of this program will result in the complete phasing out of physical certificates of title and their replacement with electronic certificates of title. The implementation of an electronic land registration system will assist in improving Jamaica's rank in the World Doing Business report under the Registering Property Index and contribute to the government's target of securing top ranking. Currently, Jamaica is ranked 85 out of 190 countries, and the implementation of the electronic land registration would save time, reduce human resource requirements, and provide opportunities for further collaboration with Tax Administration Jamaica and other ministries, departments, and agencies with a view to reducing or eliminating connected transactional processes external to the NLA. Cabinet also gave approval for the revised national policy for senior citizens for tabling as a white paper in the Houses of Parliament and noted the intention for the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to develop legislation for the care and protection of older persons. In Jamaica, the cohort of persons 60 years and over is growing and is projected to account for 16% of the population by 2030 and 22% by 2050. Persons in this cohort demand greater levels of goods and services, specifically from the government. Given the significant informality in the labor market and the fact that many would not have contributed to any pension scheme, there's a high prevalence of poverty within this group. The revision of the policy is in keeping with the commitment of the government to implement the comprehensive social protection strategy, including adequate safety nets and social protection floor that mitigates the risks to economic and social development. The policy will be implemented over a period of 10 years, and the National Council for Senior Citizens will be responsible for monitoring and implementation of the policy and associated programs. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security will be studying the existing legislation, global best practices, and an analysis of the local situation with a view of developing legislation for the care and protection of the elderly. We'll move on to the establishment of a new governance and organizational structure for the Montego Bay Conference Center, which is trading as the Montego Bay Convention Center, MBCC. Cabinet gave approval for the amendment of the Articles of Incorporation for the Montego Bay Convention Center to remove the provision that a director may hold any other office or place of profit under the company in conjunction with the office of director, as well as other provisions, as these are inconsistent with the corporate governance framework for public bodies. A new governance arrangement will be established in keeping with the corporate governance framework for public bodies, as well as a new organizational structure for the MBCC and the recruitment of the relevant expertise. The MBCC was established as a subsidiary company of the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, having been incorporated under the Companies Act as a limited liability company on October 15, 2010. The MBCC procured the services of a management company, Spectator Management Group, to manage, operate, and promote the facility as a first-class conference center. In 2016, the Tourism Enhancement Fund assumed execution of the contract. This contractual arrangement has expired, and it is now important for new arrangements to be put in place to reflect the management and governance structures of the public sector. We'll move on to the fourth item, which is Jamaica's hosting of the Latin American and Caribbean Forestry Commission. Cabinet gave approval for Jamaica to host the 32nd session of the Latin America and Caribbean Forestry Commission virtually from September 6 to 12, 2021. The Latin America and Caribbean Forestry Commission, as you know, was established in 1948 as a food and agricultural organization, statutory body, that provided a technical and political forum for member nations to discuss and analyze issues related to forests and their contribution to food security, sustainable food protection within the region, and conservation of natural forest resources. Hosting the 32nd session will highlight Jamaica's leadership and continued support and commitment to forest development and capacity building within the region. It will also increase the visibility and work of the local forestry sector and strengthen regional and international partnerships and networks with the forestry sector. The expected outcomes and recommendations of the session will inform the work of the FAO in forestry within the Latin American and Caribbean region, the 2022 Forestry Conference in Rome, Italy, and the Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. The Chief Executive Officer and Conservator of Forests in the Forestry Department will chair the session. In terms of reports, Cabinet received and approved the following annual reports and our financial statements to be tabled in Parliament. Jamaica Bauxite Institute Limited, 2019-2021. Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO, 2009, 2010, and 2010-2011. Financial Services Commission, March 31, 2020. Nutrition Products Limited, 2019-2020. Court of Appeal, 2020. Tourism Product Development, 2017-2018. Milk River Bath, 2019-2020. And the Consolidated Fund, March 31, 2021. We move on to major contracts. Cabinet gave approval for the award of a contract for road and drainage rehabilitation works from Corner Gate to Wood Hall in St. Catherine in the amount of $121.7 million, and that contract was awarded to Dwight's Construction Limited. Cabinet also gave approval for the award of a contract for the renewal of a software subscription and support for eGov Jamaica Limited for a period of 12 months in the amount of US $795,940.55, inclusive of GCT, and that contract was awarded to IBM World Trade Corporation. And finally, Cabinet gave approval for the renewal of general insurance for the Braco Resort Hotel for the period June 1, 2021 to May 31st, 2022 in the amount of US $448,063 exclusive of GCT, and that contract was awarded to Marathon Insurance Brokers Limited. And from the education sector, I just wanted to give you an update on our Recover Smarter National Summer School program. And we would have released information, but we just want to give you the latest data. As you are aware, due to the inclement weather associated with the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa, the start of face-to-face summer school was delayed by a day to yesterday being Tuesday, July 6, 2021. Up until 5 p.m. yesterday, the portals for student registration had recorded over 58,000 students and over 5,500 teachers who registered to serve as tutors in the program. The regional teams at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information would have mapped over 22,000 of these students with over 1,100 tutors in approximately 380 schools across the island, and many of those will be coming online today as well. Other groups will report today and Thursday as we continue to be mindful of the COVID-19 protocols. At the close of the day yesterday, the numbers collected from the regions showed that we had 326 schools that participated, primary schools, 36 secondary schools, 16,530 students, and 1,515 tutors. In terms of the online component across the 3 online platforms, today, Learning Hub, Edufocal, and One-on-One, we're seeing participation of almost 27,000 students so far into the program. As students come on, they will complete their gap tests, and then the customization of the tutoring would begin for students, and that will be ongoing. Our expectation is that as we go through the program, we will continue to see an increase in the number of students, the number of schools, number of tutors that come online, and we are happy with the start of the program. It's a major initiative for all our children in recognition of the learning loss and learning gaps that they would have been experiencing. I know many parents have expressed their appreciation. Many school leaders have also, and I've heard them in the public domain, remain very supportive of the program that will continue through the summer, particularly in the online mode, even when we complete the actual program for the summer. So thank you very much, and I'll hand back over to our moderator.
Thank you so much, Minister, for your comprehensive update. May I welcome also Mr. Mark Barnett, the President of the National Water Commission, who will also be joining us on Zoom to answer any questions concerning the update, of course, provided by the Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, yesterday in Parliament concerning the impact of Tropical Storm Elsa on the country. And so, ladies and gentlemen of the media, may I then ask that you pose your questions to Minister. There are several resource persons on our Zoom call as well who may be able to shed some light on other questions that you may have apart from what the Minister raised this morning. So I'm on the Zoom, and I ask you to just use the raise hand feature to indicate whether or not you have any questions for either Minister, the Honourable Favour Williams, or State Minister, the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan. So I'm looking, and I have not yet seen anyone raising hand. All right. Well, Nadine Wilson-Harris, good morning to you. Your question, please.
Good morning. I am from the Gleaner. I have three questions. First of all, I wanted to find out, should parliamentarians who are under investigation for serious allegations of illicit enrichment, as cited in the Integrity Commission report, be named and perhaps recuse themselves while such investigations are underway? That's my first question. Also, I'd want to find out the timeline for execution of the master plan drainage overhaul of Marcus Garvey Drive that was estimated for more than 20 billion, and the source of funding for that project. And thirdly, just wanted a response to the assassination of Haiti president this morning. And just wanted also if the minister could address the concern that CARICOM and Jamaica in particular have had a negligible influence on Haiti's political unrest and vaccine crisis. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another postcab. As it relates to your first question, as you would know that the Integrity Commission is an independent entity, and they determine their actions. So we do not opine on the decisions of the Integrity Commission, nor do we opine on the legal process that is engaged if and when someone from the Parliament may find themselves facing challenges. We are unaware of who those individuals are. There's been no statement as to whether these are present or past, so it's very challenging for me to comment on that without more information. As it relates to, give me a second, please. Haiti, I think the minister is on. Is that correct?
Yes.
So Minister Johnson-Smith will address that matter shortly. She's supposed to be on. And as it relates to the Marcus Garvey Drive matter, I think we will have to consult with the NWA and the minister. They're on as well? So we can have the NWA address that?
The NWC is on.
No, we're talking about Marcus Garvey Drive.
Right, so NWA is not on this morning, so we may be able to get the information.
Right, so we will have to speak to Mr. Warmington to get you that information regarding Marcus Garvey Drive in detail. What was your other question? Yes, as it relates to Haiti and CARICOM, Minister Johnson-Smith will be joining us, where she will give a detailed response to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. As soon as we are able to get Minister Johnson-Smith on in terms of just promoting her on the Zoom platform, we'll certainly have a response to that question. May I ask members of the media, just so that we have a better flow and so that we keep track of your questions, if you would only be able to, one at a time would be better, so that we'd be able to fully and fulsomely respond to your questions. The next person who has a hand up, am I seeing any hands? Any further questions on our Zoom platform? Well, I'm not seeing any further questions, Minister. Let me see if Minister Johnson-Smith, are we able to get her on the Zoom platform then? Minister? She's come. Okay. I see no further hands raised by members of the media concerning questions this morning. All right, so then for those questions asked concerning the NWA, we'll certainly, as Minister Morgan indicated, get a response to you, Mrs. Wilson-Harris, and certainly for the rest of the media, get responses to that for you. Is Minister Johnson-Smith now on our Zoom platform? We'll be able to go to her? Yes? No? All right. I believe the permanent secretary's on. Is? Are we able to get that up? Is that portal open and up? All right. All right, so then may we thank everyone who's joined us on our Zoom platform. Indeed. May I then ask, the Prime Minister actually had indicated this morning his reaction to the assassination of the President of Haiti, His Excellency Jovenel Moïse. May I ask Minister Morgan then, if you would be able to just read that for us. Thank you.
Must apologize for the absence of Minister Johnson-Smith. I know she wanted to be on, but as you are aware, the President of Haiti, based on news reports, was assassinated, and the Prime Minister has made a short comment on it, expressing his condolences. The Prime Minister mentioned that he met President Moïse on several occasions, particularly within the context of CARICOM, and found him to be committed to seeing Haiti take her place within the world. He has condemned as an heinous act and a stain on Haiti and a sorrowful time for the region, and expressed his wish for God to specially cover Haiti. I think we have the minister now, Minister Johnson-Smith. Thank you, Minister Johnson-Smith, for joining us. You may go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Just had a few technical difficulties this morning. And also just coming from the Council of Ministers meeting of the Africa, Caribbean and Pacific Council of Ministers, the OACPS group, where we did observe a minute of silence in respect for the loss of His Excellency Jovenel Moïse, President of Haiti. We all woke to the shocking news of the early morning assassination of the president. And this has indeed left us all in Jamaica and across the region, indeed, in mourning. And we also, of course, deeply regret that we have also learned that his wife has also succumbed to her injuries, so that the First Lady, Her Excellency Martine Moïse, has also been lost to their country and to the region. Now, Prime Minister Holness has communicated his own sadness on this tragedy that has befallen Haiti and its people, and we convey our deepest condolences to the people of Haiti and to the family of President Moïse. Jamaica wishes to reiterate its solidarity and support to our sister country, to our neighbor, to our fellow CARICOM country and its people at this terrible time, as well as to members of the Haitian community who currently reside in Jamaica. all of us in the region have been closely watching the developments in our sister country, Haiti, and we have been offering our support and best wishes for their return to peace and stability. We continue to await additional news on developments, including any action to be taken by CARICOM or indeed other regional and hemispheric organizations, noting that the United Nations, the OAS, and indeed CARICOM have all recently spoken and or issued reports in respect of matters there. So again, we express our deep regret, our sadness, our condolences, in sympathies, and indeed our prayers to the government and people of Haiti, and indeed to the family of President Moise and his wife. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Johnson-Smith. I will allow, are there any follow-up questions from the reporter?
Minister, thank you. I see no hands raised from members of the media who, Tanisha Mundel from the Gleaner as well has a follow-up. Then, Tanisha, good morning.
Good morning. It's not a follow-up. It's not a follow-up. It's a new question, actually, for the minister.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Minister.
Hey, Tanisha, good morning.
This question is for Minister Johnson. My question is in relation to the shipwright agreement. I would like to... Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay. Minister, I'd like to know if the government will be publishing the full text of the amendment agreement because of its grave implications for freedom and the constitutional rights of Jamaicans.
So the first point that I wish to make is that the agreement has not been amended. And I, in fact, had asked that media houses that reported it as amended should correct same, because what we have stated at every stage of our discussions is that the amendment remains in place and unchanged. What we have been working with our bilateral partners, United States of America, to complete our protocols, new protocols and procedures for implementation of the agreement. And this is what has been agreed. So we have new protocols for the exchange of information, for the process which takes place in respect of interception and detention of our nationals pursuant to the agreement, again, the terms of which remain the same. And the procedures, of course, are specific to security operations and to legal procedures in respect of the prosecution of these matters. And accordingly, because of the sensitivity of security operations, which is the very heart and nature of interceptions on the high seas, the protocols will, of course, not be shared. They have, however, been shared and are to be used by our security operations, so the Coast Guard on both sides, the JDF, our Attorney General's chambers, their counterparts at the Ministry of the Justice Department on the US side, the Director of Public Prosecutions Office on this side, as well as their counterpart on that side. So the protocols are about how we implement and not any amendment to the agreement themselves. So thanks for the great opportunity to clarify that information for the Jamaican public. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And
Thank you. No further.
I think we're...
Hello, I have another question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes. This is in relation to the amended Extradition Act. I want to know how the government is responding to concerns that accepting hearsay evidence might breach persons' constitutional rights.
I'm not aware that the Act permits hearsay evidence, as is being said, and I am not aware that any right will be contravened or breached by the new amendments to the Extradition Act. But I am not actually prepared to speak on the details of that amendment this morning. So I would have to postpone any further questions on that particular piece of legislation.
Thank you very much, Minister. Really appreciate the time that you have taken to address the matter regarding Haiti. She asked a follow-up.
I'm not seeing any raised hands. Is there anyone on the Zoom platform with a follow-up question?
I think she was cut off, so you have to allow her to ask her follow-up.
Hi, sorry, Naomi, I follow.
Yes, could you use the raise hand feature for me? Because that's how I'm actually seeing that there are questions. I'm sorry, who is on asking a question? Nadine, is that you asking a question?
Yes, sorry, Naomi, it's Nadine. Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Nadine. But please use the raise hand feature. I ask.
My hand is actually up. I don't know why you're not seeing it. But just a follow up to the issue of Haiti. So I'd asked initially also, for the minister to reply to concerns that CARICOM and Jamaica in particular have had negligible influence on Haiti's political unrest and vaccine crisis. So I wanted to know what would be her response to those who have these concerns.
Well, the fact is that CARICOM has been following the matter closely and has been engaging with Haiti in fact, the matter of Haiti was very much on the agenda of heads who met on Monday and Tuesday of this week. And indeed, President Moise was to join us yesterday morning for discussions in respect of reports which had been conducted, and including the OAS contingent that had gone. CARICOM had a representative on that mission that had recently gone to Haiti and had completed its report. We also had commissioned a CARICOM experts report, which had been presented to heads yesterday. These matters were considered in caucus because of their sensitivity. President Moise was to have joined us yesterday morning and was detained by other matters. As you recognize clearly, the situation was even more dire than one could have anticipated. And it is just a truly regretful situation. In respect of vaccines, part of the challenge with getting vaccines to Haiti has been the instability, which has been making it difficult for them to assert a readiness to issue vaccines and to deliver them. But indeed, arrangements were underway in the very same discussions that we're having with the US about their allocation. Those include allocations to Haiti as well, and as they had announced. And we have always expressed bilaterally and otherwise, Jamaica has expressed our willingness to participate in a mission, to use our good offices. We have engaged through the OAS and otherwise in an effort to try to not only understand exactly what is happening, because it's actually quite a complex situation there, but also to our willingness to participate in any way requested by the government of Haiti. I am sure there'll be further discussions on developments as they occur, and I know that these discussions don't happen in the public domain. So I know you would understand the sensitivities in that regard, but please be assured that Jamaica and indeed CARICOM have been directly and indirectly engaged and monitoring closely matters in relation to the developments in Haiti.
Thank you very much, Minister. Ms. Francis, do we have any other questions?
So may I ask members of the media, if you have questions and you're raising your hand, keep that raised hand up. That's the only way we can see it. And at this time, I see no raised hand on our Zoom platform.
Thank you very much, Ms.
And so
Francis.
therefore, we can close.
And thanks to the Minister for joining us at very short notice, and also to Minister Favour Williams, who gave her presentation, on all the support staff, including members of the media, for joining us for another in our series of post-cabinet press briefings. Hope you have a wonderful and safe day. Thank you very much.